Hello, this is Rusty. Welcome to Software Inc. I have my phone beside me. I have a little clock down at the bottom corner there because I have a tendency to get carried away and forget what the time is and go way over how long I mean to record for. So, in Software Inc., I do get carried away quite a lot. So, let's start a new game. I've done a couple of practice runs and one of them didn't work out too well and the other one worked out really well. So, I've got confidence we can get a decent game going here. I'm not particularly bothered what the company's called, not particularly bothered what our character's called. We're going to be called Thaddeus, apparently. Thaddeus Jensen. What we want to make sure about is that we have a decent set of traits. We've just got the defaults there. We're set to optimistic. And we're set to goofy. I don't really like goofy. What can we have instead of goofy? Dramatic, maybe? How about extrovert? They're not so very different, are they? It won't let me switch off that one when I've got optimistic and extrovert. Okay. Optimistic and generous? Right, so stressed. Why is stressed locked? We've got optimistic and generous. Can we have something here that will... Misanthropist, really? Didn't see that in the other comment. That literally means hater of man, as in human beings. So they don't like company, kind of thing, being around other people. All right. Optimistic and generous. What did we start with? Was it goofy? Goofy unlocks everything, so we can mix everything up. I think that's how it works. Now, it's been around for a long time, this, but I never really understood what relation these had to these. It looks like they just lock some of them every now and then. So, we want to have them all unlocked, which means optimistic and goofy. The slide that really matters is this one down here. So, I'm only going to be using one founder. We could use up to 4. And this means we have to have these. Private office, royalties, well, private office is what we have to have. And we want to try and get them to be, I think big brain is what we want, a designer like that, 14 points. Just had to nudge the slider, so this is slightly more value than the other 4. And the reason why I want the designer to be a big brain is because they're going to make an operating system at any point. We want them to be able to max out everything that they design, so that they always do 3-star design on whatever part of the project they're designing when they're doing the design document, because then everybody else in the team follows the design document, and we want it to be 3 stars across the board. Right, so we still have 8 points left and we've only got 6 left we can choose, so boop, that's easy, isn't it? We have 7 points we can use for programming, and at the beginning 3, that's 7. We'll have 2 stars of each. And artist, we want slightly more weighting towards 2D than we do audio at the beginning. Next slider. Leader. Now, I'm not going to be using automation with this character, and the reason for that is because they are a lead designer and I want someone else to do the automation, project management. So I also don't really want them to be doing the team management either, particularly if they're the lead designer. But I will do it like this. So they will be able to handle complaints and handle wages requests, but nothing else. So while we're getting started in the game, as we start to get our first team up and running, they will be able to handle the preliminary management role. Now, the game doesn't actually have a hierarchical management structure as such, because what we're doing is we're telling our founder that they're a junior manager, but they're also a lead designer. I don't really like that structure. It's been commented in the Steam forums for ages, but it's not something that's been changed up to now. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we have a little more in-depth management role representation as the game continues to be developed, because the designer's still working on it. They're still working on this game and releasing updates every few months. So that would be quite a big project, though. It wouldn't be something that would come in a few months. It would take a little while to overhaul how management works. So the CEO role itself isn't really treated as a CEO role. Then you have accountants that don't report to a finance officer or anything like that, a COO, or CFO, sorry. So the management roles could do with fleshing out a bit more. And then you have higher management, which is the board. You have middle management, and then you have junior management that run each team. So what I've done here is I've taken my higher management, but they're doing a junior management role. At the same time, they're also a lead designer. So this is a little bit of conflation on exactly what kind of management role they're in here. It's not clearly defined by the game. Right, so what I've switched here is Big Brain, and that allowed me to set up the 14 points of design. We still have 3 points to use, and at the beginning of the game, we're probably going to be doing more support than anything else, but I will give them 1 star in marketing, 2 and 1. They'll be able to do press releases that are text only, and they'll be able to do a marketing budget once we release a product of a few thousand. Not very well, maybe, but they'll be able to handle a little bit of marketing. We'll get specialist marketers in later. Right, so let's just flip back and make sure it hasn't reset anything. Yeah, it's all the same as it was, fully maxed out. Now, I did give them 3 stars in hardware. I could have kept those stars back, but that's okay. For network and what's the other one to come? Hardware. Network and hardware are still due. Right, so we are ready to start. We're set to medium difficulty, because that's okay. 1980 start year. Let's get a map. Oh, hang on. I've got the other traits to pick. What's the second trait? Now, super focus is great for some teams like legal and accounting. If you have them dedicated to one task, like patenting research that you've just finished, that's really good for that. And accounting, the reports, the tax returns at the beginning of the year. So they're great at that. That's good for those teams. But for this team, it's not particularly useful. Born Leader slows us down like crazy at the beginning of the game. So does putting them on the accounting team and trying to get them to do accounts and everything else. So that's not good for us as the CEO, who's also a small team leader. Detached, no, we don't want that. We want people to be strongly bound together. This is a trait that will be randomly selected when we set up HR. Occasionally, in order to fill the teams up, we'll get this trait. It's fine if we do, but we're not going to select it for our founder. Founder Maker, on the other hand, means that people will be very loyal to our CEO. And we have to take a negative trait as well. So what will that be? Well, in the beginning of the game, we don't have lifts. And also, our lead designer works in a private office. So, Silent but Deadly is not going to be a problem. Now, you notice this is not a problem for anybody who works on the ground floor anyway. So, if you're going to have to use Silent but Deadly as a negative trait, make sure everybody's on the ground floor so they're not in lifts anyway. And they can fill up your teams with this trait for anyone who's working on the ground floor, or move them into teams that will be on the ground floor, and then use the other traits that you get for the first floor upwards. So we'll take that one. That's perfectly fine for the start of the game. And we can pick them out. We can even have a private lift because the CEO would want to. Alright, who's reset my... I could say 5. I might actually do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to save 5 points for network and for 3D. Right, now will you let me pick them out? Yes. This time I'm happy because I know what those points are that I've set aside. Right, so it's typical to start in the garage because it's really cheap. Here we are in the garage. So let's go down the floor. Let's have a check of the time. Oh, right. We can get something going before we run out of time today. So here is the space we have to work with right at the beginning. Now we know we need this person to have their own office. So I'm just going to do that right away. Let's go to build mode, and although they're slightly more expensive, I will go for proper desks right at the beginning. And here's the computer that we have access to right at the beginning. The founder's not going to need a particularly fancy chair. They'll work off that for now. Let's scroll down and we can find the drawing tablet. There it is, because they're an artist. And we'll give them the bonsai tree. Hold down Alt to rotate it slightly so it's not square on. There we go. And now we just need to click on the room and look at its stats over here. They've got plus 5% mood boost. It's not very bright, it's not very well decorated, and it's a bit noisy. So we'll start with the clock because that's an easy one. And that has added an effectiveness boost of 15%. The second one we want to add in this room is the bookshelf. Sometimes it's easier clicking on the office tab here to find stuff. I think we'll be alright, we can find it. Flip that over there. And now that has a 25% skill boost. So those modifiers are fine. That's where I expected them to get to. Now, for lighting, we could use a desk lamp. That will fit alongside our drawing tablet. Where are you? There you are. So we could have that. And I will use it because we can always Control Z to get rid of it again. That takes us up to 267. Some do that. We can use a standard pendant wherever you are. There. That takes us straight to 400. So one light, which uses 25 watts. Takes us up to exactly how much electricity we need, light we need. 15 watts, 10 watts less. Didn't supply enough, so we'd have needed a second light anyway. So we might as well just use the pendant. So it's now slightly more acceptable here as well. We just need to make it a little bit nicer inside the room. And we'll be there. So this plant has a few varieties that are in the right hand pane there. And I like to mix them up, so I'll go for this one. And again, we can hold Alt to move it around. Push it right into the corner and rotate it so we get a different angle on each plant as we look at them throughout the game, not just monoclones of each other. And we now are ever so slightly under our environmental. But what I am wary of is that we'll end up having a problem with sound. We've got a few different patterns here. Which one do I like? I think that one. That's against the wall. And that's just going to help absorb a little bit more sound when things get going. What I can do now is I can highlight this desk, right click on it, duplicate it and put it in here, ready for our next employees. I think I will add in, actually I'll move that over one more. Thank you. Oh no, I selected move instead of duplicate. Try again. Right, so 1, 2. We can have 2 more people, I think, comfortably. Let's click on this room and get it up to the same stats. This is the one we've just done. Probably need 2 lights in here. Let's put them there, to the right of the back of the chair, like that. And it's a bit noisy, and it needs a little bit more decoration. I'll use a smaller plant in here. Alt to move it into the corner a bit more tightly. There we go. It's not blocking the door. And we're up to 200. Noise is still a bit off, and before I add anything to try and dampen noise, I'll add in everything else that's essential. So just looking around the room for where that's best. I'll have that there. The clock can go somewhere where they can both see it. I might have to need, if I want both of them to see it, I really need to let them have one each. So they can have a clock each. It doesn't add any more benefits down here. Is that 10% mood? No, it's 25, so we still need to improve the mood a little bit. And it's still a little bit noisy. So we can still get, I need water and food for this office. I'll use another small plant so it can go under that window there. Alt, push it back. Let's use the other variants. So we've got a bit of contrast. 90%. Right, so like I said, I need food and drink in this office. To do that, we're going to need a couple of tables. And we'll click on canteen here to get to the mini fridge a little bit quicker. So one mini fridge and a coffee machine. Let's look at the noise that these generate. Now, this one is maxed out near enough. This one isn't far behind. This one is a lot quieter than the other two. But the quality is not quite as good. So we'll use that one. And a water cooler probably won't go amiss, which we can see here in common. It's the front, right. Check our stats are all still okay. So now they have all the essentials to be able to have breaks. We're not even going to hide them straight away. And again, just so that we don't have problems with noise later on to speak of, let's add a couple of rugs. There we go, there's one, two. I'll use the same design. Should we use the same design or should we give them a bit of contrast? It looks a bit busy, that one, doesn't it? Let's use that one. I quite like that one. Right, so that is set up. And this computer is for our designer. And what I can do is click on the computer, right click on it, and use this plus chair symbol to say, this person uses this computer, nobody else. And I just need to change one of these over for now to a calculator, which I can do using the replace furniture option and selecting calculator. Boom. So when I get a programmer, not so long from now, they'll have this desk, and then my other designer can work here, and that will get us moving a bit quicker. Right, so that will start us off. We need one more thing, actually, which isn't really essential, but means we don't have to buy it later. We can just carry on. So for that, I need a table, and I need to go to service and put that on there and recheck the room. That has massively dropped the room quality. So let's go back up to, I don't think there is an all option, is there? We can add in pictures. What I tend to do is just click the random button and see what it gives me. So one there, gave me the cat. That's 136%. One here, got the computer, and one more. It won't go that far over. That's back on 200 degrees, 200%, sorry. So the office is back to standard. The noise isn't a problem. It is quite noisy server, but it's okay in that room. It's only the starting server anyway. Let's go to the main game, and we have a few minutes left to do a few projects to get started with. So our person's going to come in here. Let's spin it around so we can see the desk and then working. There we go. We've got a few of them there. Zoom in and press play. And we can go to contract work, which is how we start, and see how many of these we can get done. Am I still on pause? I am, yeah. So let's server 0 Sub-Zero helps them have less bugs. I'm not going to assign them as a lean designer, even though they are one, because essentially we're not going to do any design right at the beginning here. Might sound odd, but the way the game works is, at the beginning of the game, we don't need to do high quality stuff. It just wants them to come with some programmed ideas of an idea that the company can develop themselves, kind of thing. So they're not worried that much about design right at the beginning. We can skip it. Right, let's go to second speed up. There we are. That is enough. So let's develop all 4 of those. And you'll see what I mean. Fast forward. Slow down a bit because that one's ready for remote. And I'll pause it while they work on the others, because there's nothing else available. I'll pause that one. These 2 are almost ready. That one's gone across the line. Pause. And finally, remote. Pause. I don't need to pause that actually, I can start them off. So because contract work is empty, it's 10:30. I've got 2 choices. I can work on bugs. That one doesn't have any actually, let's finish it. Or I can start developing some software. And in the first day, I'm just going to let them work on a few bugs. For one thing, it helps the programming ability and supportability. So let's fast forward till the day is over. They are finding some, and it looks like that is all there is to find, because they've got Zs coming up, which means they're not working anymore. So let's just pause and finish. Right, so they all came out with inadequate quality, and that was perfectly fine for the business brief we were given. And one thing we can do is go to all companies and see if anybody else was founded near us. Nope, just us. If I right click over here in this corner, I can change what's being displayed so I can see just what's interesting to me. At this point, that's what I'm interested in. If they've listed on the stock market and how many shares they have for sale. Oh, that I own perhaps. Just shrink the window down to match that. So I equals and Bart died. Ween is the one before me, and they do have shares for sale, but unfortunately they are 45 million and I don't have 45 million. And 1 share would be right, 3 shares would be 75,000, so 1 share would be 25,000. Now I can click the circle and say exactly how much I want to pay. So I say 50,000, like that, enter. And now that will cost me 50,592 for 2 shares. Boop. I have my first investment. And I can get a clue on how they're doing by clicking this button, which looks like a pie chart. And that'll tell me if they go up or down in this change here. So let's fast forward again. Oh, I can right click on my character and use the house button to say, you're allowed to go home now, because we have no more work for you. All right, you're back. 8.6, so it's already made a little profit, which is good for us. That's on 2 shares. So that was a good investment. Right, so let's see what's available in contract work. And let's be brave again and take all of them. And there's one more thing I could do, and that is go to our team management window and change this button here. So if I select core, it's currently on maximum tasks infinity. I can change that to whatever I want. So I'm going to set it to 1. They'll work on 1 at a time, and then when that's finished, they'll move on to the next. Let's move that down that way a little bit, and to the side a little bit. Just that'll do, won't it? Right, you have what to do, but you decide let's go for break instead. There we go. So that can be developed. And pause. Developed. Pause. Develop. Pause. I just wait until it activates the divine phase. You can see a little bit of design's been done. The last one. A little bit there. Let's activate them all again. Go to 2. That one done. Notebooks to fix, that can go. That one's ready. Right. Pause. We might be able to get a little bit of bug fixing done. Right. Oh, there we go. Notebooks to fix, that can be finished. That's ready. Right. Pause. And last one. Done. Right. Now we just let them work on what have we got left? 4. So let's put the slider back up to 4. So they can work on all 4 at once. And they're finished. There are no more bugs to fix. So we send them out. And we are on 60,000. Right, so now we can check our stocks. Bring up WinWeen. I could have just gone into the market window like we did last time and see, can we afford 60,000? Or is that now too much? 82,000 is 3 shares. What can I have for 60,000? 54,000 for buying me another 2. Right, so it's 20 past 2. I can send you home. And they're back. Let's go to our stock window and see how we did. 12.2, 118,000. So we put 56 in, I think, both times. So our total investment was 112. We made 6,000 profit up to now. What we want to be careful of, though, is how are they doing? So we can see how they're doing by looking at this window. So there's a number of different metrics we can look at. Sales, slight to slow down. What's this word one? Distribution. They did have quite a cost of distribution there, which is leveled off, I think. But on tick balance, we get a better idea of the others as well. And I think, can we extend this? I thought I've seen people change the scale of the graph, but I'm not entirely sure how to do it. That's okay. They might not have been in business before 78. That was when they started up themselves. When they started in December 74, perhaps. Yeah, they were. So blue line sales is dipping. What's this yellow line? Stocks had a couple of peaks. Wonder what they could be. We have to balance all of these to see whether or not these are worth keeping or whether they're worth selling. So that's why we're analysing them at the moment. We can also look at timeline to see what they've done over time. Okay, so they're making games. There's a number of DLCs. A number of products they have available. Any archived? No. So they have 5 games out on the market since the 74, which is pretty good going, really. They're pretty much, they had 2 out in 1 year there, look. December 77 and 2 out in December 79. So that's not bad development time. They do have some followers, add-ons, and they've made a lot of expansion packs. So Sword Slam series is the one that's getting all the expansion packs. It's an RPG. And they've made a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are they making profits on them? Yes, they are. Making profits. Even with sparse marketing, they're making profits. The total there, let's quickly add it up. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, or thereabouts, slightly more. That's 12 actually, really. So from add-ons, they've made 12 million extra sales, and the main game at the top there is 87. Oh, it's actually 14 after costs, I suppose. So it's not a bad little return. So the main game's made 87. The add-ons have made 14. That's a total of 100 million from one product, and that was the first in that franchise. They launched in December. They had a game out by February 75. 2 months later, really. December, January, and launched it in February. I mean, who else can make a game in 2 months? So at the moment, it looks like they're safe to keep. It's 8:10 in the morning. I think we've done enough for our first episode, half an hour. So I will join you next time, or you will join me, whichever way around you wish to think about it. Goodbye.